Welcome back, listeners and viewers. I'm Rob, and this is the Art Party. You may have noticed that we had a little bit of a hiatus. For the last couple months, I have not been posting episodes. It was intentional. Everybody needs a break. Everybody needs time to recoup and stuff like that. But I assure you, I've been reading lots of books, and so many great things have come out and are coming out that I'm very excited about. Another thing that I've been doing is thinking about ways that I can change and improve the podcast. So be on the lookout for more information about how I've decided to bring you coverage of even more, many more books. I'm excited about that. Today, I talk with Josh Malerman. Longtime friend. I've known Josh since 2014 when Bird Box came out. And so our conversations have started to look less like an interview and more like two guys with something to say. And that's what you're going to get in this. So what doesn't happen is me say, hey, tell me about watching Evil Dead and then tie life to that. What does happen is we talk about life and we tie that to watching Evil Dead. There is also mention of other projects that Josh has going on. And it is a really casual, freewheeling kind of conversation, but we talked a lot about passion for craft and creativity and why we do what we do. We talked about doubt. We talked about anxiety. It was a great kind of meandering conversation. Lots of praise for Marcel Proust. So if that's your thing, please definitely check this out. Josh just goes off on how great Proust is. It's a great conversation. I feel like we probably could have talked several more hours, but Josh had to host guests that were imminently arriving, so we had to cut it a little bit. We had to cut it where we cut it. It wasn't short, but we did have to cut it. So again, Josh Malerman, love to have him on. We talked about watching Evil Dead. We mentioned his upcoming book, Pictures of You, and we just experienced life together. It was great. I hope you enjoy.
You don't have to be superstitious to be like to believe in some sort of like universal wins or cosmic wins, right? And so if every time when I say goodbye to Valo, I say it exactly this way, and I knock on wood when I tell her we're going to be right back, and that sounds
Yeah,
that's superstitious, but you get what
right.
I'm saying. What to me it's like assuring her and me like, no, I will be right back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and when I sit down to write, if there's a particular scene that I think was really well done, I'm like, tell the book. And in the
Hmm.
earliest of days, you can imagine book one being like, I would like wink at the page. I still do. I'd be like, got you. No, but seriously, continue this.
Yeah.
And I write myself emails because I send myself every day's session, and I'll write as if I'm almost like an editor, like, hey, Josh, this was a great day. Or, Josh, you were tired today, but you still did it. Or, Josh, it's like, what are those? Are those superstitious? Are those cosmic? Are those hippie? Or are those like actually being in tune with like the soul of a project and the soul of just being a man, existence?
I think it's more the in tune thing. And I think
I,
that future Josh is going to have the opportunity to look back on those. Cause I think that, and this goes, so like this, I think immediately we're diving back into our archivist kind of conversation from when I was, we like had that big long talk, but like, um, I think that it's very easy for people to not, acknowledge in the moment something that's happening. Like it's easy to lose that feeling of what was going on.
right, right. And
So,
even
so
one
like, yeah,
line in an email, it's not quite a journal entry, but it shows you the mood of the day.
mhm,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
because then you can be like, not that you have or will, but you have the opportunity now to be like, oh man, this day seems like it's an impossible hill to climb, and you can look back on those days or on those emails and be like, oh yeah, this is when I said you had a really hard day, and look what came out of it. So like you've kind of like, yeah,
Exactly.
totally,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I think it's a really healthy um, approach to day to day stuff. Is like, because what you're doing is you're honoring your experience in a way that probably a lot of people don't um, are not mindful enough to do.
And it's a continual, intentional. I gotta come up with another word than just straight up gratitude, but it's an intentional gratitude. It's an intentional acknowledgement that
Mhm.
like you're still writing books.
It's an affirmation.
Yeah, and it's like you're writing books. Like it's like, there are times where you can get a little either envious or of someone else's books or podcasts or whatever it is, and then like this to me is how I've always, how do I explain this, combated like sort of like these like ridiculous and more negative feelings, is being very aware of how fortunate like
Hmm.
a life this is, the artistic life, and like to
Right,
like,
right.
and again, okay, if it's hippie, it's hippie. But to stay in tune with that and to acknowledge that even when you're not really feeling it, just like, you know, in your love relationships, you have arguments, whatever. Like if Valo and I like at each other one day, like these are, whatever they are. And then it's like that same sort of like acknowledgement, like, no, 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 I love you, to like the experience of writing, to when I'm finishing a novel. I'm beginning one in within like the next week. And it's like, there is a constant sense of communication between me and the act of writing.
Yeah, I like that intentionality. Um, I wish I don't know if I'm there with that, but like I've definitely had those low moments where it's like I think to myself, yeah, what is this really amounting to? And
Right.
then all I have to do is remember a conversation that happened, or something I oh, great example. I was in a used bookstore today and I found a This Is Horror um, uh, House at the Bottom of the Lake.
Oh wow.
And so I bought it, but I just picked it off the shelf and I'm looking at it and and I've forgotten about this, but like it's blurbed by my co-host from my
Yeah.
past podcast. And I'm like, this is that that right there, to walk into a bookstore and to see a book of someone who I love and admire on the shelf and have it somehow connected to something I did, like that's the driving force of like that's why I want to do that.
Yeah. And in terms of like, that's amazing. And in terms of like numbers and stuff, you know, I went to like, I don't know, it was a YouTube or something, and I saw some band I had never heard of had like 400 million views, or it was maybe even more. And I think it was like a Christian rock band, and then there was something else, and there was like a one joke thing on Instagram that had like 100,000 likes or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like this one sort of one act pony on Instagram that has like 100, 200,000, 300,000, 400, a million followers. And so when you start to see those numbers, it's like the numbers all of a sudden don't mean anything, because
Hmm.
you're like, okay, so here's a band. I mean, 400 million. I mean, you would expect that's got to be the Beatles, but it's not. And I'm not
Right.
saying that they're a bad band because I don't know them. But what I am saying is that to like measure yourself against these numbers, sales, likes, follower, it's absolutely ridiculous. And Stephen King had a sort of, I can't remember if it was in a foreword or if it was an article, but at some point in the thing, he's like, have you ever heard of, and it was a woman's name, I can't remember her name, and he's like, I'll give you a second to like think about it, da da da, and then he's like, okay, this was the best selling author in the world from like 19 whatever 20 to 1950 or something, like the
Yeah.
best selling author in the world for like 30 years. And he was like, you don't even recognize her name. And he was like, that same thing is going to happen to me. And all of us are like, okay, buddy, I mean, you've had 100 movies made, and you're the
Right.
big as the Beatles. But then you kind of think about it and you're like, you might be right. You might be
Yeah.
right, dude. And if that is true, on one level, it's horrifying because it's like, what is the meaning of anything if that guy vanishes, right? On the other side, it's like liberating as hell, because you're like, oh, there are no numbers. This is only
Yeah.
about maximizing the experience and your own whatever you're drawn to, your attractions, your joys, your enthusiasms, your gratefulness, whatever those are. And there's something very liberating about that.
Yeah, if no metric matters, then no metric matters. Like just do,
No metric, right?
you know,
If no metric matters, no metric matters, right? Exactly.
nothing is, yeah, nothing is holding you back. Nothing is keeping
Right,
you down.
right.
Do
Because it'd
it.
be like,
Yeah.
oh, only 20 people read this book or heard this album or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay. What if
So,
a million people, like there's a book right now that you and I have never heard of that a million people have read. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Many of them,
yeah.
right?
And poignantly for me, in about 2 weeks will be 15 years of me podcasting.
Wow.
Um, and like, I don't think I need anything more than that. I know that there's like other book related podcasts that, probably get 1,000 more downloads than me easily. Um, but I'm still going after 15 years.
Right.
And,
And that, you and I have talked about this, and we'll talk about it again tonight. That speaks to the body of work
yeah,
versus, the canon, the oeuvre, versus the singular one thing, like the hit song or the hit book or whatever
mhm,
it is. That speaks to like the body of work. And it's like 15 years is something to be more, first, like you could be, what's the right word? You could be doing your best work right now, like literally in this conversation. And
yeah,
then, and you don't quite recognize that until you look in a year or two. You're like, man, I was on fire. And so to me, there's never a reason to ever think like Bird Box did this, and oh, the book after it didn't sell us. Who the hell? Who gives an shit?
right.
You can swear, I guess. And then like,
You can swear.
and it's like, yeah, I don't know. So that's a constant, as you can imagine, in the book world on a big five, it's something that crosses your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, man. So anyway, good.
Hi.
That's a good kicking off, like our positivity, front loaded in this one. What I like about this and the conversation we're having is that you can kind of easily see that in other people too, regardless of where they're at. If it's like their first, book or like their 30th book, like if they're, you can feel that kind of shit. What am I trying to say? For the love of the thing kind of energy.
Sure. Yep.
Like that's such an infectious thing for me.
Yep.
Like when I see someone who's just like, I'm in this for the fact that this is amazing. Isn't this amazing, guys? Let's talk about how amazing this is.
Yeah.
That energy for me is just, and like, I'm not saying that it's bad if you don't like just beam that type of energy off of you, but when you do, like, I'm like, let's make more of that energy. This is a person that I want to, um, you know, that it's easy for me to. I'm saying this in a way where I feel like I'm being negative toward people in a way I don't mean to, but
No,
like,
I know this. I know
um,
it's a. You've located the fault line or the delicate fence, whatever it is, in this
yeah,
conversation, which is that I don't mean to imply that if somebody is concerned with numbers, that they're doing it wrong. Like, in fact, it's
yeah,
always interesting to me. There are a few like fellow peers or whatever that to me it seems obvious that they're going for like a bestseller. Okay,
right,
and then what does it mean when I read their book and it's also great? Like then
yeah, right. Well,
I'm like son of a bitch. I don't know what to do with this. You know what I mean? But I do know what to do with
right.
it. It's great, and like then that's it. Then
Let it be great. Yeah,
I give them love and I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing. So like,
yeah,
okay, and also like someone could like maybe someone's not as upfront about their motives or whatever the hell it is, but I do think that you can feel these certain things, and I do worry about like new writers entering like the arena and think and comparing in terms of like sales, comparing and like, oh, this guy had a movie made or this many sales or this or that, and I just want to reach out and like, like beam into their head, like, do not worry about that, those things, keep
Right.
writing, keep writing, keep writing, and like just keep loving it, even, or keep wrestling it if you don't love it, keep battling it, whatever it is, keep doing that though, because that inherently writing a novel is a good thing to do. You just know that.
And here's where I think we are at. We are very like behind the rose-colored glasses of this like conversation, um, and I think it bears acknowledging that like there are adversities that we face, and there are like disappointments or stresses and stuff
Oh yeah.
in any creative endeavor, and so I mean, and that's valid too. That is something that we're going to face. So like the practicality of the situation is like, yeah, there are struggles. They're going to make you feel, not, they're going to make you feel shitty. You might feel like giving up at some points. There's those realities too. Um, and I think in my situation, when I've had those low moments, um, reflecting on what the experience has given me so far bounces me back into that like positive, creative, let's make a thing kind of situation. Like, it's not how many downloads I got that's going to bounce me back. It's thinking of that conversation I had, or like that someone said, oh man, my favorite thing I've ever listened to is you talking to Josh when you were at his house and you could hear the tree frogs in the background. Like if
Yeah.
someone says that to me, that is the fuel
Oh yeah.
that pushes me forward. It's
Yeah.
not like I got a lot of downloads for that episode. Don't care. So I think that's important to talk about too, is like, what are the things that can propel us when we are having those down moments?
And I think that like it's like it's like the artistic life or the writing life is it's hard. But what does it's hard mean? It's hard doesn't mean like you there's a scene of you like, oh shucks, going to get no, it means it's fucking hard. It means that you're gonna want to like. There's gonna be a moment where you like are embarrassed for reasons you don't even know why, and you like and you think I don't know. Yeah, kind of like giving up. You kind of feel like what is the meaning? There's like a legitimate hollow, empty feeling of like what is the purpose of any of this? And like, am I is this right? Is this wrong? Am I like have I been a frat guy this whole time and I thought I was an artist?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
and then like yeah,
Seriously.
it's hard means that it actually is hard. Like that means
Mm-hmm.
like it's hard. So there are these things that come up. There are conversations. There's weird moments. I mean, I could cite weird moments at conventions or this or that where someone says something and you're like, the hell did that mean? You know what I mean? Or like I accidentally saw a review online where I'm like, what the F? What is it? Like everything
Yeah.
about this review is like so not where I'm coming from. But this person thinks like these legit sort of like crises. And then for me, the ultimate without fail, the ultimate is if I start writing or writing a song or whatever it is, it just feels good every time. Like Allison said something to me once.
Yeah.
She goes, she works out all the time and runs marathons and stuff. She said to me once, I've never regretted a workout. And I thought that it was like the most
Yeah.
brilliant
Yeah.
statement to me. It was like, I have never regretted a writing session. I have never
Yeah.
regretted trying to make an album or finishing an album, whatever it is. And it's like, that doesn't mean it was easy. What it means is that like this beautiful thing we have in our lives, when it is hard, maybe you take a few days off or whatever, and or do
Mm-hmm.
definitely sit there and freak out for a few hours. But by nature, what we're dealing with here is the answer to that feeling is the same thing you're getting the feeling from. Like,
Yeah.
right. So like the thing that's momentarily poisoning you, have another drink of it. And let's write.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
for me, that thing is the writing life or the artistic life. Yeah.
But and like probably I'm going to be a little cliche about it, but like rewarding things shouldn't be hard. Like workouts shouldn't be effortless. Like the whole point of a workout is it's a strenuous activity, but it's the
Sucks.
benefit that you get from it. Yeah, it's like it's hey, turns out that's how your body knows how to give you certain chemicals so that
Yeah.
you feel regulated and stuff. And like by the way, 50 years from now, it's going to be less likely that you fall down and can't get up and things like that. So
Right. That's funny. Allison talks
um,
about that all the time about the bone density and muscle mass for older age. And,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's interesting. She
she's
brings
smart
it
about that.
up.
Like I'm at the age now that I've started following on social media accounts about like how to stretch and how to like alleviate back pain and stuff.
Hey, for anyone watching and listening, I had my first surgery 2.5 weeks ago. I had hernia surgery. I had a hilarious talk with the star of the movie that is being filmed here right now, a Ben Evans film, where I was on the phone with Sky Alabar, and I told him I had to get this surgery, and he goes, "Oh man, let me tell you, it's a really good time to get a hernia. It's a great." He's like, 20 years ago, it was a lot worse. They put in like a metal mesh, and he's like, now it's a great time to get a hernia. And I was like, I gotta tell you, that conversation kind of worked for me. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
all right, good. Yeah, you're right. I got a hernia at the right time.
yeah,
Yeah,
really timed that perfectly. That's we were talking on the phone the other day, me and you, and I told you about talking to my eye doctor like the day after getting my cancer diagnosis, right?
yeah.
And how he had had the same cancer as me, and it made me feel like, but like decades ago, and it was like the exact person that I needed to talk to at that moment to make me feel better about what I was going through. I love that kind of stuff. I'm not like super spiritual or anything, but like
Well,
that stuff.
I
Yeah,
think these are, how do I explain it? There's like maybe one of two things happening. One is that like I had no reason to talk about a hernia before, right? But the second one
yeah,
is now that it's in my life, I'm experiencing other people that have had it as well, right? And so, God, I sound like Shirley MacLaine or something, man. But I don't even mind. But like, so like, I get this hernia, and all of a sudden, I'm Rob. I'm not kidding. I discover I didn't even know this. My dad's had both sides. My friend's wife has had both sides. The Sky's wife. Probably shouldn't say. Okay, who cares? She had one. Like, so many people I talked to have had this operation, and I
yeah,
was like, "What are you talking?" Like, I didn't know that any of you had.
yeah,
And now and then you hear about it all. So oftentimes these things that we're like really either scared of or it seems like just a distant sort of unrelatable horror, then when it actually becomes prevalent in your life or present and you have to actually bring it up, you discover like, oh, this isn't as uncommon as one might think, and that makes you feel good.
Well, I think that that makes me think of a thing that I love to think about. You go from like this idea that, I'm being hyperbolic, but like this is how we feel. Like I'm the only person that's ever had this thing. Is
Right.
like how you kind of start, and then over time you realize like, so I had a moment in my cancer, treatment and recovery and stuff where I had to tell myself like, you don't own cancer. So many other people
Right.
have
Right.
gone through this, and it made it easier to um, think about and approach and discuss, knowing that this thing that I experienced is something that many other people have experienced as well. And because of that, I feel like less alone. I feel
Yeah.
more understood. It feels like a much more approachable thing. Something that used to be Mount Everest is now way, way smaller.
I have a similar thing with anxiety. Like I
Yeah.
can't even believe if I look up anxiety online and the stories of it, it's like I wrote what they're saying or something. And when you
Yeah.
see that part of anxiety, and this it's a great one for what you're describing. Part of anxiety is believing you're alone with it, right? I mean that's
Right.
a horror, right? I've never experienced depression, but I imagine it's similar in that way. That like you are alone with this. No, like It's the
No one
you are in
understands.
now the
Yep.
darkest tunnel. No one understands. Maybe again, I don't know that very well, but anxiety for sure. It feels like no. There, if anybody else felt like I did right now, they'd be like losing their minds, running around, like tearing their clothes off and jumping out windows. And it's like, no, nope, you're not alone. Like,
Yeah.
and like even at like conventions, I've got back home or whatever, I'll see someone post like, I was so anxious I couldn't even barely enter the signing room or whatever, and then it's like I had no sense of that woman or that guy or whatever being freaked out at all. And that's something else, I mean, it really is. Yeah. And we can equate this back to, again, the writing life. It's the same thing where it's like, where you think that these thoughts, a little envy over someone else's, well, I kind of understand envy over someone else's idea. That's one that I don't mind having. That's
Right.
that's an envy I don't mind having, because that's kind of like if you're boxers or you're basketball players or something, that's like, ooh, that's a good move. And you want,
Right. It's like, yeah, oh, I can't believe he made that shot. Like, I
yeah,
would
and
love
you're
to
like,
be
I'm
the,
gonna actually incorporate like that sort of angular like thinking. So some envy or some sort of like, oh, I wish, is helpful or is cool.
right.
But in terms of
Yeah.
envy of quote unquote success, those things are that's just as dark as it gets.
I feel like we are like accidentally or maybe kind of on purpose touching on ideas that exist within watching Evil Dead in a way, but like
Oh yeah,
maybe um not exactly dead on, but like yeah, I think that so in general with creativity there's going to be a healthy way to approach things and an unhealthy way. And the unhealthy way is like so here's something that I've seen with people who are trying really hard to have a writing career. Um, and they're like, it's almost like math to them, where it's like this book and this book and this book were really, really popular. I have an idea and I'm going to pull these elements from this book to like, emulate or not emulate, but like I'm going to do this and these popular elements are my book and it's going to be successful, but they never try to find their own voice. And that story, absent their own voice, is just something you've already heard. And
right.
so like, and so there's an unhealthy way to do that, but there is a very healthy way to be inspired by something and be like, ooh, I want to do my version of that. And doing that in your voice with your creative like stamp and everything can be a very healthy thing. So it's like, I hope that makes sense. But like, if you're just doing it because you're like, I want the success of this thing, probably it's not going to work that well. But if you're like, that was great, I want to try to make that shot too.
Yeah. And I think that
Different.
all of our favorite, filmmakers, singers, it's harder to know for sure with writers, but I assume with writers as well, do exactly what you're saying right now. I mean, there are literally, you've seen the side by side of like Kubrick and whoever, and
Yeah.
Tarantino and old westerns, and you've seen those.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, where it's literally the same shot but just more modern gear or whatever. And
Right.
and it's like, love him or hate him, and I don't know what I feel about him right now with Tarantino, but uh, he's definitely coming from a place of loving movies. I mean, there's no question about
Mhm.
that. So like, it's an interesting thing because it reaches back to what I just was saying about what happens when you read, and we don't have to talk too much about this, but when you read someone who does set out for just a bestseller or that kind of thing, but it's also awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's almost like the Born Identity movies or something. Like, you know what I mean? I remember I got
Yeah.
like sick, like I got sick a year ago, and I was like, no, I can't handle like freaking the Seventh Seal right now. I need like, give me like the Born Identity. I mean, I've never seen the Born Identity, and I loved it. I watched like 3 of them or something, and I'm like sitting
Mhm.
on a couch like having the time of my life. And that one feels like, those movies felt like this is somebody setting out to make a blockbuster or an action, straight up action movie, da da da. And I thought I can't believe it. I loved it. Like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm also the guy that just read all of Proust. I just read all of Proust. What do I do with the fact that I love the Born Identity? I don't know what to do right
Yeah.
now. there's one side of you that's like, well, thank God I'm not just pretentious. And the other side of you is like, no, 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 no. I should stay over there. Like, and I should stay with Moby Dick and Proust. But the other side of you is like, no, you gotta admit it when it's there, and it's like there. So I don't always know what. Well, I do
There,
always know what to make of that, which is like, dude, when it's good, and I don't care why.
there's got to be like those like 4 quadrant things where it's like,
Yes, totally.
yeah, there's got to be one for this where it's like
Hard.
commercial and
Yeah,
artistic or something, and
yeah,
like the goal is to be high commercial, high artistic, not low commercial, low artistic, or whatever.
yeah.
Like
No,
there's got to be something like
that's
that.
like again, the Beatles are the ultimate example of like highest artistic and highest commercial at the same time,
Yeah,
right? They're like the ultimate example of that, right?
right.
I
Yeah,
saw someone online recently post like they're the first boy band, and I'm like, hold on, I get why you're saying that, but just hold on.
right.
These guys like invented the format, you know what I mean, or expanded it to like where it is now, with what everything you're listening to, and yes, it's like, has there ever been something? I mean, Stephen King's a bit like that too, right? Where it's like
Yeah,
full artistic and full accessible at the same time. Yeah,
mhm.
a lot of my
But
favorites
here's
are
the,
like that.
here's the thing that I'm going to say, because like it feels like we're starting to like categorize people, but the important thing to think is we have permission to like anything regardless where it falls
Oh yeah,
in any of those
oh yeah,
quadrants.
oh yeah,
Like
100%.
for the sake of analysis, it's interesting to think about that, but like at the end of the day, like if I want to read um like erotica about people having sex with like Bigfoot,
Yep,
and I like that, there is literally nothing wrong with that.
100% agree. And if you want to read Danielle Steele or Patterson, great. I'm just glad you have a
Yeah.
book in your hand at all.
Reading is reading. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
But I would recommend anybody to read Proust. I read the whole thing. Oh my god! Oh my god! I think it's 4,400 pages, which sounds small to someone who's read The Wheel of Time. But oh my god, was it a brilliant experience? I don't even know what I think of the guy, what I think of the narrator. I don't know. I have such a complicated relationship with this right now, but I
yeah.
would recommend, because talk about immersive. I mean, it was a reading experience of a lifetime, man. I would have you read it?
I've not read any Proust, but when I was up there with you visiting, you were in the middle of it.
Right. Oh, that's what. Right, right,
Yeah.
right. I was in the middle of it
Yeah.
then. Yeah. So I finished it. I have it like alone on his shelf up here. That's why I keep looking over there. And I just like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm thinking about doing it again, man.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was that rich. I told you, like, I think I told you before, it was like dessert. Like every
Yeah.
time to sit down to read, it felt like it was like dessert or something. It was like, this is the richest thing I've ever read. Yeah. But okay.
That's
So
yeah.
well, sort of swing like into what you were saying about watching Evil Dead. I feel like that book, we almost never even have to say the name, but I'm glad we are. But we never even have to say the name in this whole conversation. Is that book Watching Evil
Yeah.
Dead? Is the last thing it is film analysis? No, I mean, I think the biggest analysis in the book is me and Allison being like, "Whoa, this is amazing,"
Hmm.
and like, so there's no analysis. I'm not an expert on the movie at all, like literally at all. I don't know the dates it was made. I don't know the name of the cameraman or whatever, and like, but it's I kind of feel like the closest thing that I can think of to Watching Evil Dead would be like Orwell's Down and Out in Paris and London, or the Beats in a general sense. That sort of just spirited, like Henry Miller's early stuff. Well, Henry Miller's all of his stuff, where it's like, is this like, it's not, it's definitely not a novel, but it's almost like recognizing, it's like this if we transcribed our conversation right now and just put it
Yeah.
out, however many words ends up being, like, that's what Watching Evil Dead feels to me.
I agree. I have recommended it to multiple people, and it's hard to pitch, but like my
Yeah.
general idea is like if you want to be in love with the idea of creating, or if you want to be in touch with your love for creating, this is like a very um it's like a good thing. It's not preachy, it's not prescriptive. It's just
Yeah.
um hey, remember why we do this? Because we love it. Like
Well, it's like what you said earlier in this conversation. I hope that it's someone saying, "Oh my God, isn't this amazing?" Like, "Oh my God, this
yeah.
is an amazing thing, and isn't this amazing?" And that's like that's all it really is. There's a reader, I think her name's Kimberly Craft, who wrote like a review or something that said like, "This book is so wholesome," and she meant
Hmm.
that in a nice way. And I had never, never in my wildest dreams that I imagined I would write a book that would be anyone would call wholesome. But I agree with her. I read that book, I did the audiobook, and I'm like, I know what she means. And that doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not self help, it's not prescriptive, it's not writing advice, it's not film analysis. It's just how it feels to be in mode and in touch
Yeah.
with writing and with the artistic whatever.
Well, and the interesting thing, so one person that I gave the book to, um, I and bear with me because this is a positive like outcome, but like at points in reading it, he kind of pushed back and he's like,
Oh, cool.
the idea that like it's easy for him to say these things, like that was kind of a like a feeling that came up for him as he was going through it because like, you know, look behind me for the video
Yep.
people, like you have a career. So like as a person who's like at the beginning of their kind of publishing journey, that was a feeling that came up and I was like, keep going, keep going. And the reason I said that is because we were talking about anxiety earlier. Your anxiety and your self-doubt is on display in this book in a very kind of candid way, showing what we were talking about earlier. Like we have these ups and downs. And also, I think that the thing that I really appreciated about that book is that you didn't see a clear path or even kind of really understand maybe
At all.
what this thing was about. So your it's not just, hey, writing is great, I love writing, I love creating. It's like, what is going on? And
Right.
here's my doubts, here's my uncertainty. I feel like, and this is me kind of interpreting, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel this thing pulling me forward and I don't fully understand it, but it feels good and it feels like I should be doing
Yeah,
this.
100% that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel it right now, literally right now. You know,
Yeah.
a long time years ago, I saw an interview with Larry Bird where he was saying that he whatever, he tried to go to Indiana, it didn't work out, he dropped out, and then he was a garbage man for 1 year in his
Hmm.
hometown before going to Indiana State and becoming the biggest thing, and then the NBA and da 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 da. And he cited the garbage man job was the best job he ever had in his life. And I sent it to Steven, the guitar player in our band, that interview. And Steven wrote back, well, yeah, that's easy for Larry Bird to say.
Yep.
Because like he can now say, as like celebrated athlete, he can be like, well, actually, the best job I ever had was as a garbage man. And I 100% understand what Steven is saying. And I get what
Yep.
the person you're saying is saying.
Yep.
I can't speak for Larry Bird, but I can speak for myself. That it's that whatever the book is the reason there's like 28 unpublished books here. Is the
Yeah.
reason there's I recorded 4 albums in the last I think is 3.5 months, and has I don't know I put one on Bandcamp like a few months. Has anyone heard it? I don't know, maybe. Like I'm like it's just the love for the game. It's the drive. It's it's the pulling forward, like you said. I definitely understand someone saying that. Oh, Bird Box sold 1 million copies. This guy could say, it's so, like that book, The Secret, right? Like, if
Hmm.
you believe,
Yeah.
or which actually I think there's some interesting stuff in there, to be honest with you. But like if you just,
Manifesting and stuff.
yeah, yeah, and it's like, and I'm like, no, this isn't that, man. This is more like, I think this is more like Kerouac and Cassidy having a night together, and then one of the two of them wrote it down. Because the
Yeah.
night after that, or the morning after, sorry, the morning after that night, I just like in the book, I said to Allison, I'm like, dude, I could write a whole book about last night. And
Yep.
it just felt like everything was in the room with us. Everything. Every mammoth backdrop you could ask for. And it was just a brown couch, a couple of easy chairs, and small house living room, with like red Solo cups. I mean, that's all it was. And it felt like everything was in the room with us, man. It felt like new love, dying love, the arc of a relationship, the arc of creativity, standing at the head of a career in horror, the horror of that, the fear of that, the anxiety of that, and the unbelievable like elation that there's like a door opening for you. And then also what does that mean? What if you open the door and there's nothing, you take a step and there's nothing there? I mean, it was all in the room with us that night. I
Mhm.
was so hungover the next day. And I said, Allison was like, oh my God, let's not even talk about that right now. And for like 12 years, friends have come over, fellow artists, fellow writers, Philip Fracassi, Dirk Manning,
Oh yeah.
other writers have like come over in my office, and I've been like, you know what book I'm gonna write? It's called Watching Evil Dead, and it's about this night that Allison and I had, and to a person, they'd all be like, well, yeah, write it. I'm like, no, I know, I just don't know, I don't know, I don't know, and then for whatever reason, that day struck me. Okay, let's roll, let's do it, and I
Yep.
wrote it, and this is the part that's like mind bending to me is that let me just go through this for 1 second. So I sent it to Kristen because I got to, because I want to put it out somehow. And I assume that how we're going to put it out is either myself or a limited edition. I don't know. And there's no way this is coming out in a big way, though, in my imagination. And so I sent it to Kristen. I didn't give any disclaimers, but I was worried that she was going to be like, what the hell is this, dude? But then after like I sent it to her, I thought to myself, Kristen is a fan of books. Like she loves
Yeah.
books. Like she actually might like this. And then okay, all right. And I remember saying that to Allison. Kristen writes me back, hey, this is like special. I love it. Let's first, and then she says, likely we're gonna have to put it out like either ourselves or a limited edition. But let's at least go to Del Rey first, And I'm like, okay, okay. And we sent it to Del Rey, and again, I'm all prepared for like nothing major to come. And again, I said this time to Kristen and Allison, I'm like, but Trisha and Del Rey love books.
Yeah.
Like this might get through, and it did. And
Yeah.
that's a whole other element of this is that my relationship with Del Rey now. I mean, dude, they put out Watching Evil Dead in hardcover. Like,
Hmm.
that isn't a sign of like mutual respect or like like we are a fan of yours or I'm like this. Just I have such a good relationship with them, and I'm sitting down to write the next book for them in a week. And something like them putting out Watching Evil Dead is like I don't even know how to express it. Like I was prepared to just do it myself,
Hmm.
and they're like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, yeah, this is great, and we endless talks about it, and here we are.
You touched on something that I kind of want to go to now. I'm going to look at our text message conversation because there was a moment um, when I was reading it that I thought was really sweet. I texted you, you guys just finished watching Evil Dead. Like, this is me saying where I'm at in the book. You just finished watching Evil Dead. And I finally got to the point where I thought he wrote this damn book for me. So, yes, I am loving it. And you said, oh my God, I've been quietly nervous for your response over here.
Yeah.
That just electrified my day. And um, so I think that like what I get from that, first of all, is that I actually that inspired a conversation in a different episode of my podcast where like that conversation led me to realize, oh, people have thoughts about when I'm reading their book like that. That's
Oh,
something that
wait,
registers.
wait, 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 wait. Hold on. Yes, but dude, I mean, lest you forget, Allison and I would go to the park near our house for Bird
Yeah,
Box, Black Man Wheel, Unmarried Carol, Inspection, House Bottom Lake to listen to you two at the
yeah,
time dissect. I mean, we would literally sit there on the swing set with the with one of our phones, just playing your podcast and just being like, "Oh my God, this is
yeah,
unbelievable!" Like, "Oh my God, listen to their thoughts on this."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to sort of think, but see, that's funny. Now it's reciprocal. Now it's like a boomerang. Like I'm like, wow, he would even that would surprise him that somebody would care. Now and that's boomerang
Yes.
back to me. That's like inspiring me now.
Um, yeah, but like, so I guess that's a part of the relationship of author and reader that probably doesn't get talked about or thought about too much. But I can't remember what my original point was, but like, oh, watching Evil Dead was not. Hmm, it was a swing because it doesn't look like, and even literally doesn't look like your kind of usual thing, but you it's almost like you needed to do it.
Yeah,
And what I think is like, I think I've read almost everything you've written, and I have a unique love for each of those things. But um, the thing about that book is that it almost like it kind of bottles the experience of knowing you personally to a degree. Like you can't replicate spending time hanging out with you, but um, like reading that book was like, yes, I see this in Josh. Yes, I see this in Josh. Yes, like it kind of like it put more of you out there as you, as opposed to the stories that you create. But I love that. I love the love of the craft and the love of creating, and I think that it gives a perspective that will help other people stick with that love of creating as well.
I hope again. It's funny. We always say like I hope to a new writer, but what about like someone that's written 40 books too? Like I would love Stephen King to read this, not because I want a blurb, but because I would want to turn him on. I would want him
Yeah,
to be like, oh shit, dog, I'm gonna sit down and write my next book.
right.
Like you know, I I do. I find myself like, okay, it's not intentional, but it does seem like the opposite book follows typically in my career. And to have Incidents
Right.
around the House, which is this unbelievable moment for me in terms of, by all metrics, if, back to that, to follow that up with this, it almost seems like intentionally saying like, hey, I'm not here for a brand. I'm not.
Sure.
I'm not
Yeah.
here for a brand. I'm here for like the love of the game. And now after that, pictures of you. Let's get back. Let's get rolling again. But also, there's gonna be another Watching Evil Dead hopefully in a few years. Also, you know what I mean.
Right.
So like it just that's another thing it does. The same thing with Unburied Carol did that. Go in the Cape did that. Where it like opens like another door for you. It's like, hey, you do this now, and you could say like, oh, what do you mean? Like you can do anything, yeah, but until you do it, you don't really feel like I can do this now. Like for you, if you sat down to write a novel or direct a movie, like right now, yeah, of course you could direct a movie, but until you actually sit down and stand up and direct a movie,
Hmm.
it's not a part of your canon, right? So
Right.
a nonfiction book was written and it's out in the world, and now it's like you can do that again if you want. That's now part of what you do,
Yeah.
no matter how good or bad the book does, and that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's one
Yeah.
of the most exciting elements of the whole thing is like the Swiss Army man ness of the difference between Carol and Bird Box, the difference between Incidents and Goblin, the difference between
Mhm.
Watching Evil Dead and Ghoul in the Cape. It's all like there's like a and also the albums and making movies and silent shorts that Allison and I are working more on and more on and like working more on and like it's all like adding to like the Swiss Army man of it
Yeah.
all. It's fucking phenomenal.
There's something to that too. Like in my side of things, now that and this is many years ago, have interviewed David Duchovny, I feel much less intimidation talking to like anybody. Like if I could talk to Mulder and have a good, engaging, fun conversation, like I'm good. I
Yeah.
like
He's
it's
also a
yeah.
super smart guy too.
That's the thing. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he's like Ivy League educated, like really smart about literature and stuff. And I'm like, I like books, da da da. But then we had that conversation, and now it's like I've talked to Duchovny, so like, who can you throw at me that I would really feel,
It's
you
funny.
know?
It's amazing to me that you even bring this up because earlier today, I don't know why it was on my mind that I was like, who could I meet that I would be like nervous to meet or something? I don't remember.
Yeah,
Maybe it was on TV or maybe someone else was talking. I don't remember what it was, but the thought crossed my mind. And the first and almost only name that came to mind was Paul McCartney.
sure.
And then I was like, no, I wouldn't. Actually, I wouldn't feel nervous. I would tell him that, because I've seen him in interviews talk about that John Lennon said, that one in that one song, all you did was yesterday, meaning whatever, double meaning there, right? And then Paul was like, but I also did Hey Jude. I would want to tell him, no, 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 no. But you also, everything you did was good.
Yeah,
Like you didn't have to cite other songs you wrote. Like everything you did is good. So like, yeah, no, even if I met him, I
yeah,
think I'd be like, fine, But yeah,
yeah.
I'd be a little nervous with David Duchovny though, I think, yeah. Or like
It,
somebody who's like
yeah.
coming from a conversationally like okay, I better be present, that kind of thing, yeah.
Well, you and Duchovny, like, so not to put you guys on the same page, but like authors, musicians, he has a band, he tours with his band. Film, like you guys some similarities. You got
So
some
we are
similarities.
getting closer and closer by the day to me directing one of these. I'm gonna make one. I don't know which one it's gonna be. What book? Maybe not one of
Yeah.
mine. I've always thought it has to be one of mine. But sometimes I think, what if I directed like a Cat Ward book? Like what
Oh my gosh.
Like no, I
Yeah.
know, right? Like why does that have to be mine? And like there's something really exciting about that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
why can't it be like like Stephen Graham Jones? Why can't it be Jennifer Gordon? Why can't it be Cat Ward? Why can't it be, you know what I mean? Like that's crossed
Hmm.
my mind like recently when I'm like, actually, hold on, maybe this could be interesting, you know?
Now I'm trying to think of whose story I want to see you
Well, I
tinker
mean,
with.
one of my fail safe Malfi. Oh my god,
Yep.
that dude is so good, man. That guy's operating at a level. I was about to say that I don't even think he knows. No, he knows. He knows whether he would say that he knows. Yeah, he's just. That's what I mean. Sometimes envy in that way is good. It's
Yeah.
like I read that guy and I'm like, oh shit, this guy's fucking good. Man. Daniel Kraus. Oh my god. Oh, did you read the Partially Devoured?
Not yet. I think it might be the next one I read though, because the way that he talked about it in the event that I just went to, I went to his first event on his tour, and like the reverence for the movie,
Yeah.
the level of detail that he seems to have gone into with research, and like the care that he put into representing the people sounds so compelling. Did you
Okay.
read it?
No, I haven't. And so this is a great example of like, okay, like he's Angel Down. Did you read Angel Down?
I haven't had a chance to yet. No.
It is it's like fisherman level good. It's unfathomably good.
Wow.
And it truly is. And so Partially Devoured and Watching Evil Dead, like, whoa, what's going on? Like one dude's
Hmm.
film analysis and
That's a good point. Yeah.
no, I know. With his life story of Night of the Living Dead, and the other dude, his life story or whatever with Evil Dead. Like what is this out of nowhere? Talk about like right, but they could
Yeah.
literally not be more different. Like when I was writing
Yeah.
Black Mad Wheel in the original draft, I just called it the desert, and Allison was like, "Dude, you need to know like what desert they're in." Man.
She's smart. She's a smart person.
I know that you're aversion to research, Josh, but like you actually need to like pick a desert, And then it was like, oh shit, okay, right. I'm like, all right, well, this one's interesting because it's against the ocean, and like literally that was the thinking behind ending up in the anyway. So the point is, could not be more different minded in this way, Daniel and I. But the I like to think that the reverence for the subject matter, the I don't like the word talent, but like we're both capable of great. I think everyone's capable of greatness, but we're both capable of greatness. And they could not be more different. I haven't read his yet, but just, I mean, his is like a frame by frame analysis, and then with
Right.
sorry, and this again, I think the deepest watching Evil Dead goes is us saying like, oh my god, what that's a great shot, you know. So I love I love that is there to bounce off, and I cannot
Yeah.
wait to read his and like discuss this with him. I sent him watching Evil Dead, so I can't wait to
Yeah.
have this like talk with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going like here, and here's the thing, like for people who are newer to because like this isn't just me and you talking, it's like the actual audience. For anybody who like hasn't who thinks Daniel Kraus is like a new voice, he's published like 20
I
plus
know,
novels. Like
yeah,
he has credibility, but not just like in horror, but
yep,
now he's doing nonfiction and he's done a ton of YA, and he fucking his The Shape of Water was his idea, and
yeah,
he's co-authored stuff with like posthumously with George Romero.
dude.
He is a
Oh,
fucking powerhouse.
he sent me and Ryan Lewis, our hello everybody, our
Yay.
to our production company. He sent us a script that was so freaking good, and
Yep.
ultimately we didn't end up doing it together. It's fine. It's fine. It was so freaking good. I don't want to tell you what it's about because I don't know if Daniel. Well, I'll tell you. I can tell you after. The script was so the small in terms of setting and scope, and so gigantic in terms of like emotionality and character. And I had to
Yeah.
call him after. Like we didn't end up doing it. I just had to call him and tell him that it was genius. I was like,
Yeah.
I know we're not doing this together, but oh my god, was that brilliant, dude? Yeah, he is operating at a serious level, man.
Yeah.
That dude's the real
But
deal.
like, and like somehow these ideas that like whale fall seems like, how are you going to make a guy getting swallowed by a whale universal?
The
But
script
like,
is similar in terms of scope, like
yeah,
no bigger than that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. But like, he found a way to tell that story in a way that like you could give that book to like pretty much anybody and they would have a profound experience with it. So like, what he is capable of doing is really impressive. Like,
well, he's a great example, especially because of what you just said about like 20 novels deep, and is like writing like right now like the greatest shit you've ever read. Like I'm
yeah.
dude, read Angels Down next. I'm telling you, it's gonna mess you up how good it is, man. In the same way
Yeah.
that Fisherman did, it's gonna mess you up. Yeah, you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh man, this guy. See, this guy just dropped 60 on me, dude. It's so good. I put it on. I put it on the I have like the shelf. These two shelves.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's right next to Toni Morrison and Malfi's on there, and
Yeah.
House of Leaves and 11/22/63. I mean, it's like that kind of level shit. The Fisherman's there,
Wow.
where it's just
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here, dude? Yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, and Danny on top of that, like just a really good dude too. Like
Well, but okay, yes, but I would argue with Daniel, like he's not coming from the same place. Like he's not coming from this like place that I am. He's not. I can't imagine that he is. I can't imagine him
mhm.
ever writing a book like Watching Him with that. I can't imagine him making a documentary like I made that kind of thing. This sort of,
Right.
like Lust for Life. This sort. I don't see that in his like personality. I see this more
Right.
like I don't know what I see, but I don't see that. And but I completely see eye to eye with him on
Yeah.
writing. And I think I told you when I was in Chicago, when we were in Chicago, that Kraus was over there signing and I was over here at this table, and he came over and I had one of those Proust volumes because I was still in the
Yeah.
middle of it. And he was like, that's what I want to see. I want to see more of us reading stuff like that. That's outside of the genre. And then we're
Yep.
like, incorporating that into and that's what I mean. Like, I'm like, we're meeting each other in a place that, like, yeah, we might not be like similar dudes, although we are, I guess, you know, in a lot of ways. But like at the same time, like completely respect or something. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. I think you guys are finding love and reverence for things that are similar, but like with a different kind of aperture or
Yeah.
something.
It's great.
Like, yeah.
Great word for that. Yeah.
All right. So you were talking about like, and I'm not saying this as a way to pitch a thing for you to direct, but I
Oh,
was like trying to think of like things that vibe for you. Have you heard of this, The Extra by Annie Neugebauer?
no. But I think I'm friends with
I'm
Andy online.
Yeah. So this came out from Shortwave last year, and it's like brief. It's like 110 pages or something. But like, let me just read you the cover copy. 10 people head out on a backpacking trip, but the first night, 11 set up camp. Everyone remembers everyone else. Who is the extra?
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Isn't that?
that's what I'm talking about. That is such a good idea. That, like, my first instinct, oh, why didn't I not think of that?
Why
And then,
didn't I think of that?
right,
Exactly.
it's so good, you know. That is brilliant. Yeah, yeah. The
It's
extra.
so simple, but it is as good as the idea, is what I will say. So, like, I definitely recommend reading
You
it.
brought up a very interesting thing. I don't know that I care if the book is as good as the idea, and I've never heard someone say what you just said in my whole life.
Yeah.
And I've had, oh my god, have I had conversations about ideas and the conceit, but like, is the book as good as the idea? I've never really quite thought of it. I don't know that I care that it is. That's how much I value
That's,
the idea.
yeah.
Like the idea,
No, and that's,
right? I can get through an entire novel just based on the premise alone. I'm like, oh my god, this idea. I definitely can feel when a premise falls apart, meaning like
yeah.
you had it, you know, that kind of thing, and it vanishes
Yeah.
or whatever. But that's usually because it ends up like in movies. Movies do this all the time, where like the quote unquote third act, which I hate acts, by the way. And if I do direct someone else's book, please know I'm not going to do 3 acts. Let's do 11 acts. Let's do 11 short acts. But it's like, yeah, like I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Like Talk to Me. Did you see Talk to Me?
Not yet. I
Um,
keep flirting with it. Yeah.
Great, unbelievable idea. And by the end, you're kind of like, oh, that was a horror movie. That was like a straight movie
Right.
or something. What an idea, though. And there are 2 scenes that are next level brilliant. These 2 party scenes, the opening scene and another one, that are just absolutely brilliant. I think of like, because to me, like, a lot of people had problems with Long Legs. Did you see Long Legs?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I loved it. Here's why. Because whatever happened in that movie, Osgood Perkins shook hands, touched, tapped the shoulder, whatever it is, with greatness.
Hmm.
If it was for 1 second, if it was for the whole movie, I'm not sure. But he touched it, greatness, and we all know. Like, even is it just the amazing shot from here down of Nick Cage? Is it like, is it this? Is it that? Is it But the thing to me though is, do you know how hard it is to touch? Do you know how far you have to reach to touch that spot? You know,
Yeah.
and so like, even if you just nicked it, and Talk to Me definitely touches it, then that's enough for me. I walk away from it. I'm like, yeah, it's great. And if somebody's like,
Yep.
yeah, but the ending sucked, I'm like, yeah, so what? Did
Sure.
you see
Yeah.
that opening scene? Did you see this? And some of our favorite horror movies of all time. Uh, Trying to think of the ultimate example would be the what's the Stranger Calling, where the opening scene, the open. Have you checked? Oh wow, Valo is trying to get into my office. A werewolf. Can you hear that?
Yes.
No, Valo.
It's
Oh,
okay.
Thule. Oh, it's Thule. Okay. Where? Oh, it's both of them. Guys, I had a dream that anyway. Valo, I love you guys. But okay, so the opening sequence, "Have you checked the children," is absolutely genius. I mean, like, and I think it did start as a short, whatever. Like, I don't. Part of me doesn't even care what follows that.
Yeah.
Like what
Yeah.
I just saw was genius. And so it's like, just to even touch it for a second, like what a thing, right? What a feeling. Even if you just, like did Malfi just breathe on it for a second, or did it breathe on him for a second in this book? That's enough. I'm there. And then obviously
Yeah.
the ones that and Malfi's got some of these for sure. Angel Down, Fisherman, again, I'll bring those up. Like, it's not just touching it, it's like holding its hand. I mean, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
walking with it. But just brushing shoulders with it. And Kubrick completely walked with it. But there are many directors or many movies where you'll see like, oh, like a review or books too, or albums too, where it's like, oh, this is to this or this. And I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But did it touch it? It did. And that's like enough for me. So
Yeah.
I'm in that camp of like the idea, the premise itself, and like, how do I explain it? Like you say, the book was. I love what you said. The book is as good as the idea is one of my favorite phrases. Now I'm going to use that for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Really, for the rest of my life. And it's like, I also don't care if it isn't, because like the idea
Yeah.
itself is like, oh my god, yeah,
I think that's kind of the best point that you could possibly make too. And that's kind of like, I think that's in the spirit of watching Evil Dead, but from a consumer perspective as opposed to a creator perspective. Let's just love. We don't have to love, like, if something isn't perfect, but it achieves something that touches you,
yeah,
isn't that kind of the whole point anyway? So like,
yep,
yeah, like um uh, uh, long legs, there were things about it that I didn't connect with, but at the same time I'm like, holy shit, no one's making another long legs, like, you know what I'm saying?
right,
and
right,
and so there is a significance, and there's a heft to a thing, regardless of like whether, everything connects with you. Consumption is subjective anyway. So but no, you make a very good point. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect, it has to be the experience, right?
yeah. And whether we can like articulate it or not, we can sense um how far the arrow went that the artist let go.
Yeah.
Like we can sense that, and long legs is when we're like, talk about a swing. But then somebody would argue, yeah, but then it becomes just a regular police procedural. Okay.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, are there moments in that you have not felt before?
Yeah.
That is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, and I think that, yeah, that's a good perspective to keep as well, as like, I've definitely had books that I've read where I'm like, that wasn't overall something that I like am going to read again, or like, whatever. But there were like, this chapter fucking leveled me, or whatever it is. And it's like, I can take away the greatness from that thing that really connected with me. And that's kind of like the most important part. Yeah.
And like the all timers are the one where you're just, yeah, you're there the whole time. I think it
Yeah.
is one of those. For 99% of it, it is one of those. Again, The Fisherman, Angel Down, Toni Morrison, Philip Roth. I've experienced that with Faulkner. I experienced that with Proust in a different way, because Proust is not premise, like zero premise.
Mhm.
But you can just the entire time you are, book one ends with, I almost feel like this is a spoiler. I can't even believe this. Book one ends with him seeing a lady. I think we talked about this, seeing a lady walking up the street, and it's the most unfathomably dramatic, like, oh my god, experience you've ever read. And it's just this one lady is walking up the street, like he's a kid in book one,
Yeah.
and this one lady, and it's like, wait, what? That just blew me away, right? So once you start opening doors like that, you start
Yeah.
thinking about, yeah.
So we're almost out of time. So I'm going to have two quick thoughts that we're going to tag on to the end of this before we wrap up. One's really quick, and it's just the thought. I think it's really quick anyway. the thought that I had recently that because I just finished reading a Stephen Graham Jones book, and I realized I've read more Stephen Graham Jones books now than I have Kurt Vonnegut books,
Oh, interesting.
and that was significant for me because I've read everything, every novel of his, and several short stories, a lot. And I think I have to do an assessment of you as well to see like where I stand versus like one of my all times. And so what I'm getting to from that is that I'm at a point that's really exciting in my life where like these contemporary voices that are so
Yeah.
important to me are at that
Oh,
level. And
dude.
it's like
God.
the first time I talked to you, Josh, was 2014, and it was when Bird Box had just come out.
Yeah.
And look where we are, and that's so exciting.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm gonna post something about this because I'm gonna post something about this because this is like I'm always talking about the body of work. Like, think about it. Hey, everyone, look around. All of us who like kind of came into this together, right? Paul, Stephen, Grady. Although I feel like I always feel like I was like later in, like they were already like Stephen was already a few books in when and Paul joined the thing in 14. I think Paul's first book is 2007, right, or 8 or something like that.
Something like that. But
But still,
yeah,
still, all of us who are like doing it, like, hey, we're all starting to have bodies of work here.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that is
yeah.
freaking awesome, dude.
It's exciting.
It's
It's a really
exciting,
exciting.
dude.
It's a
Yeah,
really exciting, and
this is
I'm
an
happy that
extraordinary period because not only do we all have bodies of work, but how deep are we? I don't even know, halfway or a third. I don't know. Like, I mean, how deep? Or yeah,
yeah,
or I don't know. Someone could stop writing tomorrow just because they're like done or something. But it's like you have no idea. Like that's
yeah,
exciting too. Like there's a body of work, but with like likely so much more to come.
yes,
I mean, what a
yep,
freaking moment to be in.
yeah,
Like someone like Kubrick or Tarantino again made a movie every like 3, 4, whatever it was years. You can kind of get a sense because of their age and this and that. Like, um, I guess Tarantino says he's going to do one more. And again, I don't even know why I bring him up so much tonight. I feel weird about him lately, but Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut, you knew even though you didn't know he was going to pass away, you kind of felt like maybe there was one more after that at most, right? We don't
yeah,
know that with all of us because we're all putting out like a book a year,
yeah,
and I'm writing
yeah.
2 a year, and who knows where like all those
Right.
28. They're underneath
Oh man,
that awesome looking lamp, by the way. 28. Oh, look at that weird
that is
looking.
a great lamp.
Yeah, that is a great lamp. Yeah,
Oh,
that weird.
yeah, good. Yeah.
First of all, I don't know what that weird little dude is. I didn't put him in my office. It's probably Allison. She's trying to screw with me.
um, yeah. So, and actually, now I'm going to message you separately about something because you might fit into something that I want to do, but we'll see about that. Anyway, um, the final thing I want to end with, which has nothing to do with you or us, but it was just something that I saw and I got very excited about. I went and saw, and this is just me like having a moment of like, hey, this is something I'm excited about. I saw The Bride, that Maggie Gyllenhaal movie, The
Oh, you
Bride.
did?
Holy shit, dude. Like, talk about someone who's doing something no one else is doing.
Okay,
Because
right on.
I was like, I want to see this because it looks like Mary Shelley's Bonnie and Clyde. Like, like it looked very like stylistically just like that kind of a thing. But I would be interested to hear if you watch it. I would be interested to hear what you have to say because like I thought it was bold. I thought it was angry. I thought it was like so beautiful. I thought it was flawed, but like I think that she's got a place doing things like this. And to go with one of like kind of the foundational stories in horror as her entry into this kind of thing, I thought was just like holy shit. But she did such a good job. Yeah,
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it. Yeah. Is that her first like directorial debut or no? I
I
can't
don't.
remember.
Now I'm second guessing myself because I'm going to sound stupid if I'm wrong. But like
No,
I I don't think that she's done horror for sure. I thought it was very bold. I thought it was, and the thing about it, I don't want to ruin stuff, but like, there's a thing that she did in there where I was like, good for you for just saying something very obviously. Um, She directed
You
something
mean
called The
like
Lost
from
Daughter.
the book or something? By the way, that book, talk about shaking hands with greatness. Oh my god! And just throw it out there, Dracula too. I know it's so funny how these two never met. You know, you know what I mean? Like, and they're
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
they met. I don't right. I don't know. Like,
Right? I don't think so.
but like that would be unbelievable. But just talk about shaking hands with greatness up from page one to the end. Oh my god, Dracula. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
dude. I don't know what he was in with. None of us know. I mean, that was like, yeah, because he was like a theater like agent, manager for like actors. I sat down and wrote like the greatest goddamn horror novel imaginable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like that the kind of theme of this has been like just for the love of creating, but also the love of consuming, which ties very well into watching Evil Dead, and that just like this buoying of spirits that I think that helps us kind of keep moving forward.
Well, like we were saying before, I feel like it's like we can never have brought up the book, which we didn't that much, to be honest with you. Like we can never have brought up the book, and at the very end could have been like, if you had a good time with this talk,
Yep.
read the book. Yeah, it's a
Yep.
similar vibe or whatever to this actual discussion.
Yeah. Totally. Josh, I could talk to you endlessly, and I hope we do have the opportunity to talk endlessly. But yeah, now I want to know about documentary distribution. I want to know about future film projects. I want to know about future books. But let's talk for pictures of you for sure later this year. I'm excited about
Oh,
that.
I'm so excited for that one. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I was so excited for that one because that one was one of those. It was this has happened a couple times in my writing life where inspection was one of these as well, where I had just finished like a big book, big meaning literally size, and then I was like, I have a little bit more in me, I
Mhm.
might try one more or so, and then inspection was supposed to be when I set out was supposed to be sort of like just a I don't know I want to say novella, but it was like the one before it was like 100 and almost 70,000 words. And like the next day, you turned my attention to inspection, which ended up being like 120 or something. I mean, that's ridiculous. But I imagined it being like 40, And then
Yeah.
this was like that. Pictures of You was like that. I finished this mammoth book called The Frauds of Phantasma, which I'm very excited
Mhm.
about. It's about like a vaudeville troupe that has a real unsettling fan at all the cities they're touring and driving to, and that's shown up in every city that they go to. Da da da. And then when I finished it, I was like, man, I'm not out of gas yet. And I wrote pictures of you and sort of a like, okay, let's keep going. And I just can't wait for this to come out. I just can't wait.
Okay, that was Josh Malerman. Again, hope you enjoy the conversational nature of this thing. It allows us to be a little bit more flexible, get a little deeper, get a little more vulnerable, but still stay on topic of stuff that I think is relevant to people who want to listen to an author talk about books. In the future, I'm just going to tease. You're going to see episodes where I talk about a lot more books. So, and hopefully my schedule will be a little bit more regular than it has in the past. In the past, I've been relying on talking to the people that have books coming out when they're coming out. So I've been a little bit subject to the release schedule of books, and now I'm going to be a little bit more scheduled out and regimented. So for people who like regularly scheduled content, this was going to appeal to you. I'm also going to have the opportunity to talk about way more books than I have in the past. So I'm excited about that as well. If you like what I do and you want to keep this going, subscribe, comment, leave a rating on any podcast platform. You can go to my Substack, which is at theartparty.com, and subscribe there. You can be a paid subscriber as well. Shopping through my bookshop.org affiliate link does actually kick money back to me. So that is another way that you could help me. Um, and word of mouth, best way. If you want more people to hear this podcast, tell them to check it out. If you think that there's something that I have talked about that as a value. If you want people to have a way to discover new books, show them the YouTube playlist I have of all my horror previews. There's almost 200 books from the last 3 years that are recommended by industry experts. So there's many reasons for people to check out my podcast. Your support is just crucial to making sure that I can still do this. Thank you so much. I will be back soon with another episode. Until then, just keep reading.